The payment processing, like the whole way that it works, you have four kind of distinct parties involved, right? You have the issuer, the acquirer, the consumer, and the merchant. Do you want to talk a little bit more about that, Maxfield?
Yeah, so when you talk about like what are payments or what is payments? I don't even know, to be honest with you, like if that's a plural or a singular noun, but let's say it's plural just because it sounds better. So what are payments? Payments is basically just, what it sounds like. You have me, like I go to a store, right? And I buy something with my credit card, so I'm a consumer. Then you have you have the store, which is the merchant that is actually, takes the transaction. But then I have my bank, and the merchant has their bank. And what the payment system does, companies like Visa, MasterCard, American Express, is they tie all of these things together. They provide kind of the technological infrastructure underlying that. So when I go and pay, they take the money from my bank. So the merchant lets everybody know, and they take the money from my bank, and then they put it into the merchant's bank. And that's basically just what the payment system is.
Right. So in this case, in the scenario that I kind of constructed before, Visa, MasterCard, and Amex are kind of issuers, like they issue the credit cards. And then the acquirer, the like end acquirer, is going to be the merchant's bank, right?
Right.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about Amex, Visa, and MasterCard. These are kind of like the big players in the credit card field right now. There's also Discover, but Discover doesn't really make that much money.
Yeah, and to kind of put it in perspective, I mean, this is really an oligopoly is what this market is, right? With these three really big players on top, and it can put some numbers to it. So Visa in 2014, which is, if you look at their 2015 10K, it's the most recent kind of competitive landscape data that they give. So in 2014, they processed 98 billion transactions, okay? Equal to $4.7 trillion worth in transactions. Second was MasterCard at 60 billion transactions and $3.3 trillion worth. And then Amex was at 6.7 billion transactions worth roughly $1 trillion. But then Discover comes quite a ways down at 2.4 billion transactions, so roughly a third of Amex. So when you're thinking about the payments landscape, you're really talking about, right now at least, Visa, MasterCard, and American Express.
Right, and this is actually really interesting, right? Because Visa and MasterCard are on what's called an open loop system, whereas Amex is on a closed loop system. So the way they make money is actually slightly different.
Right, that's exactly right. So Visa and MasterCard, all they do is provide these services that connect everybody together, and then they just take a little cut from that. But the closed loop system, which is what Amex does, is they also provide the banking services. So if you look at, and where you can really see the difference between these business models is if you look at their income statement. So Visa, MasterCard, all of their income comes in basically services fees, whereas at American Express, I think it's roughly a fifth of their income also comes from net interest income. And that is, so you have a credit card, you have the credit card loan underlying the credit card, well, as opposed to that loan sitting on a bank at, say, Bank of America, Citigroup, or JP Morgan, or Wells Fargo, that American Express actually houses that loan itself. So it gets the interest payments on that.